Hello, Leo, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of March 1st through the 7th. And during that time, we'll have a waxing gibbous moon, and that's the first part of the week. That's a good time to demonstrate that we can be flexible, make adjustments on those things that we started on the new moon. We then move into the full moon energy on the 3rd, and that, of course, can be a time of heightened emotions. You might be prone to feeling overwhelmed or anxious, maybe a little snappy and irritable. Some of you may have changes in your sleeping pattern. You also, it's a good time, that full moon energy, it's just so energetic. It's a good time for us to release fear or resentments that we've been having, and also time to practice patience and calm. I know that my energy is very heightened during a full moon. I find it to be very positive. I get a lot of things done, and I just enjoy myself. I like all that energy. So different people react different ways to the full moon. However you react, just manage that. Then we do move into the waning gibbous moon energy for the rest of the week. And that's a good time for self-reflection and rebirth. Good time to get rid of bad habits and negative thinking. So please keep those moon energies in mind. There's lots of those changing energies this week. So keep that in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for other energies that you may or may not encounter, Leo. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this particular reading is prosperity lies ahead. All right, let's see what the Leo Collective has going on. As I'm shuffling, my fun weekly reminder for you this week is that you keep a spiritual journal. So sometimes we don't really recognize the patterns that are developing in our spiritual life. And this would be things we're learning, or maybe dreams we're having, significant dreams or synchronicities that you're experiencing. So it's a good idea to keep a journal of these things to be able to look back on later. I know, like when it comes to just dreams, I know that I've journaled dreams that I really didn't understand at the time, and just wrote them down, and I've gone back like 6 months, a year later, and read the dream and thought, oh my gosh, it totally laid out this thing that happened to me. I just didn't know the symbolism. So it really kind of helps you understand your own personal symbolism, or how those dream symbols work. If your subconscious is trying to tell you something or prepare you for something. So anyway, that things you're learning, again, synchronicities, it's just good to be able to have those to look back on. So, excuse me, got a little sneezy there for a second. It's good to be able to look back on those things. This card's flying out, but we're going to keep it in there. We'll see if it comes out again. In your dream journal, sorry, that sneeze threw me off a little bit. It's good to be able to look back on that and kind of see where you are and think, oh, my life has changed dramatically since I applied this thing that I learned, or since I had this dream and made the appropriate adjustments in my life, or I forgot I was going to do this thing. Anyway, I will stop rambling. Keep a dream journal. It is my fun weekly reminder for you. All right, let's get into this reading for Leo, March 1st through the 7th. Prosperity lies ahead, and you've got cards that are trying to fly. We are going to take this Magician card, your present energy. Prosperity lies ahead, because here's the Magician saying, all right, Leo, what do you want to change, and how do you want to change it? Do you want to change your life in the way of emotions or pentacles or communication or passion? So there's the Magician just asking you, what is it that you want? And if prosperity lies ahead, maybe it has something to do with pentacles. This could just, so what is it in your life? You're going to ask yourself right now, what do you want to change, and what way do you want to change it? And then you're going to have to take those appropriate steps and kind of map things out, set goals, do things like that. And so you can change yourself or change your life. Your current situation right now is the Emperor. So look at you, a leader, a builder. This Emperor energy, when it comes, I mean, look how powerful. This is two very powerful beings here of the major arcana. And the Emperor is very stable, knows how to build things, knows how to get things done. This is someone that's established and is just in charge. So awesome that these two energies are coming together, especially one on top of the other, to what is it that you want to build? What is it? What do you, and I think this is a big question for you this week, Leo. at the root of your situation is the Lover's card. So maybe you are, in a relationship, maybe you're looking for a relationship, or you're in a relationship and you want to move that to the next level and build a life with this person. Maybe you've been in a relationship for a while and you want to kind of just make some changes, so ask yourself that, where are you in your romantic cycle right now? If you're single, again, it might be looking for someone. If you're very established in a relationship, it might just be changing that relationship, making things better. You can always improve. And I think we really do learn a lot in relationships. To me, it's the biggest and hardest work we do, because that person is so close and so right in your face to reflect back who you are all the time. So really, it's how we do so much of our work that we do. In your recent past here, is you're feeling pretty good with this 10 of cups. You're feeling like you're in a good place, but you want to make things better. So again, making improvements is great. And sometimes it's the magician is about that evaluation and asking yourself, what do I want? What do I want right now? And what do I want to change? On your mind this week is the 3 of cups. So it might be on your mind to kind of celebrate something, or celebrate the fact that you're making some kind of positive changes in your life. Um, you know, maybe you maybe you go to some sort of social event or something, and that has something to do with all of this. But this is about hanging out with friends and family, people that you can relax around and be comfortable with and having a good time. So that's on your mind this week. Maybe you just want to do more of that, right? What is just ahead of you is the Queen of Wands. So what's ahead of you is really understanding your own passions. What drives you? What gets you up in the morning? What lights a fire under you? And once you understand these decisions all, what do you want to build, becomes so much easier if you understand this part of yourself, of like what drives you. What are the things that you are the most passionate about? Who is it that you want to be? So sometimes putting pen to paper when you're trying to make big changes like this, and it's just, you kind of do have to sit with it, think about it, and decide, what are the things that really drive me, and how is it that I want to change my life. In your advice position is look at all the choices. So, the advice is to really evaluate those choices. I mean, choice is a luxury. And if you're in a place right now where you have the luxury to make some pretty big decisions, then take advantage of that, because that's you know, I just think uh, having so many choices is a luxury. It's sometimes, when you're narrowed down to not having a lot of choices, that's just kind of where you get sometimes in your life. And so if you're at a place right now where you're able to make choices and able to, make choices that other people might not be able to make right now, go ahead and take advantage of that. That's not always the case. All right. What is beyond your control this week is a little bit of rest and meditation with the 4 of Swords. I will say also, we now have 2 4s on the table, and both of these cards are very much about stability. The Emperor is that super, super stable. This just comes to back that up. 4s are about stability. It's like a table with 4 legs versus 3. What's more stable? Of course, that stability of that 4. Also, 44 is a very interesting angel number for you right now. You may want to look that up and see if that has any bearing on your life right now. What is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid? Is this Chariot. So maybe it is your secret desire to make a pretty big change and you're gathering that information right now, or it's something you're trying to avoid. This will be the big question that you'll be asking yourself this week. I think also, look how familiar this looks to this Emperor card. I think change is probably on the horizon for you. I think the rest of your cards really kind of push that. And it could be, in the relationship emotional realm, but also in this passion realm. We've got cups and wands afloat here, a little bit of swords. This isn't really, swords are about communication and thought, but this rest and meditation is really about your own inner stability and thinking, and kind of your own meditation. So interesting to think about that. In your outcome position, Leo, is the Queen of Pentacles. So this very much could be, this prosperity lies ahead card could mean that when you make these changes, and when I think you're in that decision making mode right now, gathering information to make sure that you're making the right decision. But I think whatever it's going to be for you is prosperous. So those of you that are, having these thoughts right now, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In fact, if you're comfortable, drop me a comment down below and let me know, is this resonating with you? Have you been thinking about making a big change? Is it about your stability? I think it will end up being lucrative for you in the end. So, what is hidden from you this week, Leo? And that is the Two of Cups. So, this is interesting. Look down here at the bottom with this and here, these two twos that are coming together, even though that's not a two. I do see that as a two card. But what's interesting is you might not be consulting others as far as for you. You're thinking about this decision, gathering the information kind of all on your own. I'm not sure if you're sharing it with a lot of people at this point, but I think I think you're on the right path. I will say that. Let's see what the Soul Oracle deck says to wrap up this reading. Let's get a final message here for Leo. Final word for Leo as they're coming to this decision point or thinking about making a decision anyway with that Chariot card. Final message for you is admit your vulnerabilities. So, when you're making these changes, you probably need to list those things that you may fall prey to if they are, and things that you need to work on. If there are things that you're vulnerable about, things that I'm trying to think of an example here. We've got the stability and we're moving towards this direction where you could really be in this Queen of Pentacles, which is, really just understanding the material world, how money works, and how you can be in a place where you're kind of in that royalty mindset about it. Not only do you understand how you work, but the people around you, kind of your constituency. But this isn't like a page. This is someone who has moved up through, through the deck and is well, you're not really completely in control, but you're getting there, right? So but what are the vulnerabilities there? If you make a big move, are there financial things that might make you that you're vulnerable to? Maybe you might need to plan ahead for that. Again, you're in that information gathering phase. So just keep gathering information and think of all the angles there. All right, what do you need to do in the way of self-care? Self-care for Leo this week. Self-care March 1st through the 7th. And the card that comes up for you is the card called Patience. It's safe to wait. So, I mean, I think you are. I think, Leos are very confident, but also very calculating. And I think you're not going to make a move before it's too quick. You're going to gather all the information, feel like all of your ducks are in a row, and then you're going to confidently make a change. That's very Leo of you. Lots of major arcana. Let's see. We've got 1, 2, 3 with the Magician back there, 4. Anytime it's 4 or 5 or so, I feel like it's kind of a major shifting point in your own mindset, something that just changes your trajectory. So I like that for you, Leo. Um, yeah, I think that's good. We're going to wrap this reading up. If you're comfortable sharing, again, if you're going through something like this, or, you're at this magician point, of asking yourself, what is it that you want to change? Drop a comment and let me know, and let me know what things you're thinking about changing. I think it'll be different for different Leos. Like I said, this could be a relationship thing or a job thing. Just kind of a life trajectory thing. You're just going to make a little shift here, and I think you're gathering the information. So also, Leo, if you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment. And then also, if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe will help you find me next week, where you can come back and let's see if this energy continues or if there's something completely new here for you. So thanks again for being here, Leo. I will see you next week. Good luck with this. Bye-bye.